Yes, everybody, Russ and West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Monday. The weekend's gone already, and it was a West Ham free weekend in terms of on the pitch. But we enter a very busy day. Not only is it the end of the transfer window, it's the most wonderful time of the year. But also, it's we play Chelsea tonight at Stamford Bridge, 8 o'clock kickoff. So, straddling lots of things. So, there's going to be more rumours and more things coming out. I think it's going to be a bit of a late rush for West Ham. Obviously, we mentioned someone like Carl McCauley's coming less than a week or just over a week ago now. And it does seem we're working a lot on these targets, and lots of names are being added to the list. And as a result of maybe players coming in, looks like we could even get a couple of players going out as well if we get the right players in at the same time. So let's keep you up to date with everything that's happened. And also, I want to just highlight a couple of other bits that have happened over the weekend as well, with some of the players coming out of the club. So let's start. Obviously, it is transfer window, so we're going to go for a different colour. Going yellow. Jim White yellow. As I said, lots of players ins and outs. Obviously, the main one being Evan Ferguson. Now, it was yesterday, on Sunday, Russie B thought, we never do business on a Sunday. I can watch the Royal Rumble. That goes into quite early in the morning on Netflix. Have a little lie-in. Flo's been away. Take myself easy. Then roll over, put my phone on, and find out that Sky Sports has reported that West Ham have had a dry loan offer for Evan Ferguson, accepted by Brighton. Which is quite funny. It was a roadblock lot on Saturday. So it's obviously losing 7-0 to Nottingham Forest at the City Ground has made a massive difference there. We're led to be believed that that's all okay, that medicals has been done. It might be a reason why West Ham have decided to work on a Sunday to get the deal done in time, and also to avoid any hijacking from other clubs. We're still slightly worried about, I think it's Arsenal as well. We were led to believe over 20 clubs were interested in Evan. And as I said, it's a dry loan, and it's, for some people, they would like the fact that there's no obligation or there's no commitment to spend money on someone who is injury prone. But the flip side is he could have a stonking 6 months or 5 months, and then we have to pay double the money if we want to keep him. Could be a Lingard 2.0 situation. We don't know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. If I remember correctly, I think Carlos Soler is a dry loan, and then there was still an offer of a number we could pay for him. There's no obligation, no option, but there was a number. I wouldn't be surprised there's a similar situation maybe put in for this. What was quite interesting, actually, was something that TalkSport's Alex Crook said about his decision, or Brighton's decision, to agree to the West Ham terms rather than other clubs, particularly Everton, David Moyes' Everton. And he said the main reason being obviously Potter's link and a guarantee of minutes. Now, obviously, we know David Moyes is not partial to agreeing to guaranteed minutes for new signings, and that's why we've lost many of loan signings and stuff like that, because he refused to guarantee minutes. Maybe that's not so much a case under Potter, and potentially, it might be if you're fit and you're 100%, you're playing, and I don't really see a problem with that if he's playing well. But we'll wait and see. And obviously, we're covering his wages, which is apparently 30k a week, which isn't much at all, really, in today's football standards, which is crazy when you think about that from a normal person's career. And there will be a one-off signing on fee, which we pay to Brighton. We no word what that is at the moment, but I'm sure that will come out in the wash once it's all been agreed. We hope that obviously will be done before the Chelsea game kicks off, because otherwise it will be a bit tight, a bit nervous. We have to wait till after the Chelsea game. So Evan Ferguson looks like that is hopefully through the door. Another name, it doesn't look like it's just going to be Evan that comes through. It could be two, maybe three, probably two, maybe even three, I think, maximum players coming through the door. The next one, Daniel Cummings, the Celtic 18-year-old striker. West Ham submitted a bid to sign him on a permanent deal, around £500,000. It's been quoted by Sky Sports, and it states that we have a pre-contract agreed already with Daniel, and now the sort of the fun of the game is trying to get a final figure agreed with Celtic. Brendan Rodgers, in his press conference at the weekend, mentioned the fact that about Daniel, saying, "Oh, he as players, and they, want to wait for their time, and if they're not waiting for their time, they can go elsewhere." And that was in reference to Daniel. Apparently, we've had a similar situation before, haven't we, with the likes of Sonny Perkins, who wouldn't wait for development and then left and went to Leeds, and now he's signed permanently with Orient. Divine Mbama, Harrison Ashby, and there's loads over the last sort of few years we could sort of pick up, and indeed, someone like Tyler Morton from Liverpool, he's in the same boat, and he's got to make a decision whether he wants to stay with Liverpool and warm the bench, in all honesty, or whether he wants to go and get some first team minutes. So we shall see what happens, but it looks like Daniel is going to be coming in as well, pardon the pun. So it could be 2 or it could be 3. Eli Junior Kroupi, a player we spoke about on Saturday with Sky Sports, mentioning that we have had, or we were in talks with Lorient about the signing, around 30 million, 35 million pounds, and everyone's going, "Oh my God, wow, for an 18-year-old, that's far too much." He is smashing it in League 2 at the moment, 9 goals and 2 assists in 17 appearances, and it's put him on the front of a lot of sides. He's a very sought after prospect across Europe, and Sky Sports on Sunday revealed a little bit more about the proposal. Its initial fee of 15 million quid, which is pump money nowadays, isn't it? It's really funny to say, but it's pump money, plus £10 million if he reaches a certain number of games, maybe like a million, and another £10 million if he scores a million goals, a certain number of goals. So, for 15 million quid, as an outlay, it obviously helps us with PSR and stuff like that. But it's not so much for a risk. It could be delayed potentially, according to Jacob Steinberg. He's not, and it's conflicting stories. The story by Jacob Steinberg says he's not pushing for the move, but another story I read on Sunday said he wants, rather than wait for the summer, he wants to be in the Premier League now. So the likes of Tottenham, Chelsea, obviously us, Bournemouth. I mean, we had representatives on Saturday to see him in the Stade de France, where he scored in the 24th minute, and Lorient beat Red Star 2-1 to lead League 2 on 43 points. So as I said, 9 goals and 2 assists in 17 appearances. He could be prepared to wait until the summer, potentially. And that could be an interesting way of looking at it, possibly. As the likes of Bournemouth, who are Lorient's sister club as well, they could potentially, they're looking for a striker as well, because they have a few players out injured and a few of their strikers out. I think what's quite interesting, particularly looking back at Daniel Cummings, and obviously we signed Josh Landers as well from Hibernian, and I was thinking about it on Sunday, that after the first team, bar Josh Ajala, we haven't really, and Brad Dolligan, actually, my apologies, Brad, we haven't really got many strikers, like proper forwards. We got Cam Schweier, who's, he sort of plays a bit of everywhere, ended up playing midfield for the second half on Friday's game against Stoke. And he laid on a good goal for Josh Ajala to score. So someone like Daniel Cummings, I could see maybe sort of seesawing between the first team and the 21s. Josh comes in the 21s, clearly. But someone like Daniel, about £500,000. To be honest, again, it's in today's football world, it's pump money, really. And, he could easily go to if it doesn't work out, he could go to a championship club and £1 million. You know what I mean? So you're not going to lose money on that investment there. Apart from, obviously, God forbid, there was a major injury. But it does look like we are going to have at least 2 come in, Evan plus 1. Group is interesting because he's only on about £7,000 a week in for Lorient, and his contract runs out in June 2026. So the club are sort of in a bit of quandary. Obviously, they're currently leading League 2, and they may want to cash in on their prized assets to get the money in the bank, really. Which is why I could see that maybe that one possibly being looked at again in the summer, potentially with Evan going back to Brighton, maybe. There's a lot of moving parts with that one. Similarly, we have been offered, and we spoke about it the other day, actually, according to Corriere della Sera, the Milan-based newspaper, it reported on Sunday that West Ham have again been offered the chance to sign Noah Okafor from AC Milan. They want to sell one of their players before signing João Felix from Chelsea, apparently, by all accounts. So therefore, the opportunity to sign a 24-year-old before the transfer window closes has now been put on the table. Noah can, he can play across the front three, so he's an attractive option for any Premier League side, really. But we know why he's been offered to us, because he was meant to be at RB Leipzig by now, but he failed a medical. And so, typical West Ham, there is an element of risk in there, especially so late in the window. And to be honest, I think this one's the most unlikely to happen. But stranger things have happened at sea when it comes to West Ham, as we well know. Let's look at some of the outs. Obviously, we're talking about strikers. We are talking about strikers. We have one senior striker in the club, and that's Danny Ings. If we bring in 2, maybe 3 forwards, it has been suggested that Southampton could be showing late interest in the 32-year-old striker, Danny Ings. That alongside as well Everton, who seem to be scrabbling for some sort of goal scorers. Very similar to what David Moyes did about 18 months ago when he was presented with Danny Ings. Now, it's... obviously at the moment we've got Bowen coming back, and we're looking at bringing strikers in forward. So Granny Dings hasn't been able to force his way into the starting 11. We've even played Lucas Paqueta up front instead of him, who's an out-and-out striker. So it doesn't surprise me that they're looking to move him, particularly because he's on a high wage, 120-something grand a week as well. It may be that he goes out on loan, or we sell him. I think more like to be a loan with an option, and we look after part of his wages. I wouldn't be surprised to see Granny Dings in a Southampton shirt, for example, by 11 o'clock tonight. Similarly, Guerrero Rodriguez. Now, we haven't really been linked with any midfielders. However, we do have a plethora of midfielders coming back, and we're still looking at other players as well. According to Inforio Betis, the Spanish news outlet, they reported on Saturday that the Argentine international has been knocking on the door of Real. Hello, let me in. Very Peter Tim Wingy. But the La Liga outfit is not considering bringing him back at the moment. The report adds the 2022 World Cup winner would like to exit West Ham. It's a complicated case, as there's only less than just over 3/4 of a day left until the 11 p.m. deadline. This one has a bit of Fornals Ben Rama about it, to be honest. Although he has stated that if he can't get the move out, he will obviously stay with the club and fight for the place and do that. And very professional. I have no doubt he'll be very professional, but he is looking at a move out if that could happen. I think we'd probably wouldn't have to bring people in to cover Guedo, because you're thinking about it. If we bring in forwards, that relieves Paqueta to drop back into a 10 role. We can also put Kudus into the 10 role, which further drops back Paqueta into an 8 role. And I think there's sufficient cover. You've got Souček, Alvarez, Soler, Paqueta. You've got Lewis Orford as well. Plus you could put Kudus in the middle. So there's 6 or 7 options there. I think if a side come in from, I don't think we'll stand in their way potentially, but you never know. Stranger things have happened at sea. As I said, he has played a few games starting, under Potter. Now, a couple of players let's start with a player who's definitely not going anywhere. We are led to believe that obviously the Saudi Pro League, their window has slammed shut already, and they a number of clubs inquiring about bringing Mohamed Kudus to the Saudi Pro League over the January transfer window, and West Ham have rejected all those approaches, which is great to hear. One player who hasn't rejected approaches or has rejected but are approaches is the academy forward Favour Fawomni. He is now he's a free agent. He rejected a short-term extension to his contract that was due to run out at the end of January, and so now he's a free transfer. And if we're led to believe PAOK are interested in the Greek Super League champions for loads of time, famous Greek side, they've shown interest in him randomly, although they would be bringing him in initially for the academy for the next until the end of the season, and then integrating him into the first team in for the 25-26 season. What was quite funny was Flavor was sitting in front of me on Friday, and he was still under contract because his contract ran out on the 31st, and he was on his phone quite a lot. I'll be honest. There was two banks of them, the 18s and 21s. Casey was there, and Lewis and Ryan Battram and Favour and various others. And he was and I couldn't see. He was 2 or 3 rows ahead of me, and he was on his phone quite a lot, responding to messages. So it's a shame. Good player, quick, dynamic. We've got quite a few similar types of player who are in the same boat. We've got Favour, we've got Favour Fawomni, we've got Suomni as well. We've also got Adiele. We've got Sean Moore. We've got there's lots of players who are very forward, very fast, very dynamic. And I think Favour's probably at the bottom of that list. So at the end of the day, I wish him all the best. Good player. He's particularly in the 18s. He's come, and a few games to the 21s. He's come on him, and he's made a difference, made an impact, and hopefully he gets his minutes elsewhere. And that's what we're saying. It's the type of thing similar that we're seeing with the likes of Daniel Cummings and stuff. It's having that ability. Take that off. Having that decision to whether or not to move or not, and Favour's made the decision to move on, and hopefully the pastures greener for him. And that's it, my friends. Keep an eye on the channel. Any breaking news, we'll bring you little sort of updates as and when we get the latest news. There's going to be quite a bit, I think, happening over the next few hours. And then obviously we still got the Chelsea game to look forward to as well. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Come on, you bloody Irons.